Hi, this is Agil from Academy of Bliss. So today we will be seeing a marathon series on Indian history based on Ncert Class 12 and some other important facts also. Um, Even though the NCERT cover lot of important details in Asian history, according to UPSC and other important TNPSC, KS, other important exams perspective, we have to study some more important facts, and I have also added those information in this video. So before starting the topic, I would like to give you some informations. Um, there is our page Academy of Bliss Palakkad, and we are also wait. Um, we are also dealing with the daily current affairs based on the Hindu newspaper. So interested guys can watch our videos and get benefited by it. Also, please subscribe our page, like and share. Academy of Bliss Institution provides both offline and online courses. Offline courses are for UPSC and Kerala administrative classes such as NCERT discussion, basic foundation courses, prelims only, prelims and mains, and weekend test series also. For KPSC, there will be regular classes. At the same time, we will be having test series also. Our address is in Chathapuram Junction, Kalpate, Palakkad. This is our WhatsApp number, website, Telegram ID. In the online classes, we will be conducting one-to-one mentorship program. We will be having weekend prelims examination, daily mains test, and evaluation. Admissions are open. Interested guys can join in our institution. Interested aspirants and interested guys can join in our institution. So before starting this video, I would like to give you some certain instructions. Please isolate yourself from the outer environment so that you can concentrate on the video. Please take a pen and paper so that you can maintain so that you can note down the important points in a short form, which will be helpful for your revision. Okay, and please do revise what we have studied in a regular interval. So, according to our NCERT, the syllabus is classified into three types: Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Part 1 mainly deals with the ancient history, Part 2 deals with the medieval history, and Part 3 deals with the modern history. So, according to Part 1 of NCERT, it is it is classified as the Harappan civilization, early state and economies of the kingdoms, society that lived in the kingdoms, and the cultural developments. In addition to it, we have given the timeline of the Asian history so that it will be helpful for your studies. Okay. In the part two, which mainly deals with the medieval history, it is given through the eyes of the travelers uh, who traveled during that period, Bhakti Sufi traditions, imperial capital Vijayanagara, and the kings and chronicles of the Mughal Empire and other Islamic rulers, and the rulers of South Indians, which will be adding extra. So don't worry, guys. We'll be adding extra contents also, apart from the NCERT content. Uh, in the first ancient history, if we have basically any topic, please give a suggestion. If we have, definitely we would have missed some important topics. Please comment whether we should also add a new video about those missed topics. Based on suggestions only, I have to decide whether I have to add a new video or else just continue with the trend of next medieval history and modern history. Okay, based on your suggestions only, I can say. So part three deals with the British Raj Empire, colonialism, and their building and their types of planning, partition. It does not deals with the freedom movement, 1857 revolt, and other details, which I will be adding in my own content, which will be added by my own. Okay, 1857 revolts, important leaders, important leaders, sorry, important important leaders, important leaders, important events, Congress sessions, okay, and their leaders and their presidents of the Congress sessions and their important rules and regulations of British Empire. Like this topics will be adding on the part 3 of the video. So before starting, just give me 2 minutes. So we will be starting from the scratch. Uh, our Indian history starts, our Asian Indian history starts from the Indus Valley civilization. Before Indus Valley civilization also, we had evidences of people living in India. Okay, such as some tribes who have been. It has been found that some tribes have been living in India for a long time of period, such as Nagas, in northeast. Okay, Santals in East India. East India means Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, on those areas. Bills and Gonds on the central India. Finally, Todas on the South India. It has been believed that these tribes have been habitating in India from a long period of time. Okay, so our historians have classified India into three types of period: Paleolithic, Megalithic, and Neolithic. Okay, so these are the important sites of Paleolithic, Neolithic, and Megalithic sites. Please refer to it. I will say some important sites. Burzahum is one of the important site in Kashmir. In Burzahum, there is one specialty. We have found one grave where human and dogs are buried along with. Okay, in Chirand in Bihar, where we have found some evidence of flax. Flax means um, extra materials in using tools. When we are making a tool, we want sharp spear type materials, so the extra materials will be chipped off from the main materials. These flakes are found in Chirand, which gives evidence that tools were made in Chirand. Similarly, Davojali and Hadi in the northeast, Payampalli, Alur, these are the sites of Neolithic, latest stage, Mergar, in Mergar. Okay, here we got the evidence of cotton in Harappan period. Like that, Paleolithic sites are the oldest sites. Bhimbetka, you have heard of Bhimbetka caves, Hanski in Karnataka. Actually, if you note, you can see these sites, these major sites lies along the river valley. See, Koldiva, Mahagara, Chirand, Davojeli, Hadi, maximum sites lie along the river valley. Okay, this Adichanallur and Payampalli, these two sites have megalithic, means large structures made out of a stone. For example, we can say it is a cave made up of megalithic structures. Okay, so we'll be seeing what is meant by Paleolithic age. Paleolithic age means the age from 2 million BC. 2 million means 2 lakh BC. Sorry, 2 lakh BC to 10,000 BC. Mesolithic means 10,000 BC to 8,000 BC, and Neolithic means 8,000 to 2,000 BC. These ages are classified by historians to study how people lived in those periods. So in the Paleolithic age, which is very old, there won't be any major technological advancement on those periods. So the tools made during those Paleolithic ages were um, out of rough shapes. For example, tools made up of stone, which is used only for primary purposes, for peeling of the skin, like those which is used only for primary purpose, and it won't be sharp enough. After that Mesolithic age came, some technology advancement happened, and we found some microliths. Microliths means tools made up of stones in small shapes, like spears, etc. So here we found that if we have spear, they have started hunting, agriculture, domestication, like that. Technology advanced and their methods also advanced. During this period, it is found that major climate change also happened. It is assumed that before Mesolithic period, areas like Rajasthan, Pakistan were frozen, and after the Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, these frozen ice were melted and they became rivers. So significant climate change happened, and next stage was Neolithic age. In this Neolithic age, again technological advancement happened, and wheel were discovered. Agriculture were started. We can find major megalithic sites are Brahmagiri, Adichanallur, Payyempallur, like that. Okay, so we'll move into next. So you can see the tools which were used during the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. During Paleolithic, the tools didn't have a perfect shape. They were used for basic purposes. Okay, hammer, grinder, chopper, like that only. During Mesolithic age, tools were technological advancement happened and tools were made sharper. So you can see triangle, chisels, knives. Tools were even more sophisticated than Paleolithic age. And Neolithic age certainly they have found plow for agriculture. You can see here agriculture was started in the domestication, rearing of animal, Neolithic age. So you can see the plow was found in Neolithic age, which was useful for agriculture. Sickle, ring stone, arrowheads, blades, polished axes. Certainly, the sharpness of the instruments have significantly increased in the Neolithic age. Next, timeline of the Indian history. Uh, these are the data added by me. These were not given in the NCERT. Okay, so first one is Indus Valley civilization. Okay. Next, Chalcolithic age. What is meant by Chalcolithic age? Chalcolithic age. Chalcolithic age is nothing but transient from Bronze Age to Iron Age. You can note while studying in Indus Valley civilization that they never used iron. It means they were living in the Chalcolithic age. Okay. So after Chalcolithic age, uh, Iron Age came. In that Iron Age, there was huge development in our Indian subcontinent. We got Vedic period, Jainism, Buddhism, Mahajanapada. Mahajanapada was 16 emperors, 16 dynasties in India. Magadha. Magadha came out of these 16 emperors as the strongest emperor dynasty, strongest dynasty. After that, Shishnaga dynasty. After that, Nanda dynasty. Then, at the last of Nanda dynasty, Persians and Greek arrived in India. You know the story of Alexander the Great. Okay. After that, Mauryan came. In Maurya, you know the Mauryan Empire, how Chanakya toppled the government of Nanda dynasty, Dhanananda, and he captured that great empire. So, in Mauryan dynasty, Chandragupta Maurya, Bimbisara, Ashoka. After Mauryan dynasty, Shunga dynasty captured that empire. Shunga dynasty and Kanva dynasty were Brahmins. Okay, Brahmin dynasty. Because Chandragupta Maurya Empire, Chandragupta Maurya converted to Jainism, Ashoka converted to Buddhism. So Buddhist Brahmins and Kshatriyas were desperate that they are not concentrating on Hinduism. So when they got a chance, they established the empire. That is Sunga dynasty, Kanva dynasty, then Satvahanas. Satvahanas was one of the governor of Mauryan dynasty. When the Mauryan dynasty weakened, they established their own kingdom. Satvahana was in the area of west side of kingdom, maximum along the area of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, on those areas, Satvahana. Indo-Greek Parthians, Shakas, Kushas, Sangame, Shakas, Shakas and Kushanas were the people of outside origin. So the people from outside origin also came to India during the start of the century, first AD, 90 BC to 150 AD, 78 AD. At the same time in South India, Sangam age flourished, namely three kingdoms, Chera, Chola and Pandya. After that, after the 300 AD in North India, Gupta age came. The Gupta age, Guptas consists of most of feudal lords. Guptas didn't directly rule the entire kingdom directly. Instead, they appointed many feudal lords, and these feudal lords controlled some land and they had some army. When emperor has some problem, they will send this army to the Gupta emperor so that they will be fighting for the nation. Okay, so uh, the strongest emperors such as Samudragupta and Chandragupta too managed these feudal lords and managed that empire efficiently. They even captured lot of areas from other kings also. But after Samudragupta and Chandragupta too, Gupta empire's uh, destruction started. After that, these feudal lords appointed by the Gupta emperor became strong because they didn't have any opposition in establishing their empire. So after post-Gupta, there are many empires established such as Vardhana dynasty, Maitrika's dynasty, Kalachura's dynasty, Gurja's dynasty, Maukari's dynasty, Shashanka dynasty and Malwa dynasty. These were the empires which were established post-Gupta kingdom. Okay, and these were the empires which were the feudal lords of the Gupta kings. Okay, Uh, in post-Gupta kingdom, there was one famous king called as Harshavardhana of Vardhana dynasty. I will explain the Vardhana dynasty and about the Harshavardhana. Great. Okay. So in Harshavardhana dynasty, there was a king called as Prabhagara Vardhana. Prabhagar Vardhana. And Prabhagara Vardhana had three, two sons and one daughter. First son's name is Raja Vardhana. Second one is Harshavardhana. Oh, sorry. This problem always persists. Huh? First king Prabhagar Vardhana. Prabhagar Vardhana. Yes, three offsprings, two sons and one daughter. Rajavardhana. Second one is Harshavardhana. And their sister Rajya Shri. Okay, so As per the tradition, after the Prabhakar Vardhana, Rajavardhana became the king and he was ruling the empire. They married their daughter Rajashri to king of Maukari kingdom Grahavarman. Maukari. Maukari is also another feudal lord of Gupta emperor. Okay, Grahavarman. Grahavarman. This, this Grahavarman is killed by his enemy Malwa, by an enemy king of Malwa known as Devagupta. He is killed. Okay, and this Devagupta imprisoned Rajashri. Imprisoned Rajashri. So when he imprisoned the Rajashri and he killed Grahavarman, this information got to Rajavardhana. He marched and he killed. He went to kill the Devagupta. When this information reached his ally, who is a king of Shashanka dynasty. Shashanka dynasty. When this information went to Shashanka dynasty, he arranged a meeting between Devagupta, okay, Rajavardhana, and king of Shashanka. This king of Shashanka backstabbed Rajavardhana and killed him. Killed Rajavardhana, king of Vardhana dynasty. So when this information reached to Harshavardhana, he was just 16 years of age. His brother got killed, his sister got married, his sister got imprisoned, and his brother-in-law is also killed. He marched and killed both Devagupta and king of Shashanka. Like this, he became the king of Vardhana dynasty. He is regarded as one of the greatest emperor of the Hindu kingdoms, one of the last greatest king of Hindu kings in Indian history. Okay, so we have seen the timeline of Indian ancient history. Please take note of this. It will be very useful. So you have seen the king is Vardhana dynasty is ally with the Maukris. The Shashanka and Malwa were allies. In our story we have seen it now. Vardhana and Maukris were allies and Shashanka and Malwas were allies. So next we are going to the main topic. Important signs in Harappan civilization. So you can see Surkotada, and Lothal both are important sites which are located in Gujarat. Also Dholavira is located in Gujarat. So Sutka Jandar, Chanhu Daro, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa is located in Pakistan. Kalibangan is located in Rajasthan. Rakirgari and Banawali is located in Haryana. Manda is located in Kashmir. You can note it down. Manda is located in Kashmir or Punjab, I have doubt. Please note down Manda. Okay. Rakirgari and Banawali is located in Haryana. Kalibangan in Rajasthan. These sites are located in Gujarat, and these four sites are located in Pakistan. So the two major important towns such as Harappa and Mohenjo-daro is located in Pakistan. And also we have to note down one of the main important points. Every towns and cities in the Harappan civilization is located along the bank of Indus River. You can see it in the map, right? Please note down this map in your note. We will be referring this map during other slides also. So please note down this map. So there were two timelines for Harappan civilization: early Harappan and later Harappan. How did we manage to identify the Harappan civilization? Harappan civilization has a distinctive portrait, gray. They had a gray portrait, gray ware pottery. Harappans had a grey ware pottery type, evidence of agriculture, pastoralism, and some self crafts. Agriculture, it has been started in Mesolithic age itself. So, the early Harappan people also had agriculture, pastoralism, and some crafts. Crafts means ornaments, instruments, okay, uh, sculptures like that. They had a distinction from the later Harappan, like their settlements were small. They didn't have large buildings, but in later Harappan, they had large buildings. They had burning at some sites. Even they have abandoned certain sites. We don't know why they abandoned, but we had an evidence of abandonment of certain sites. How did we get to know that they have abandoned these sites? The materials recovered from these sites were of early Harappan. We didn't get any materials from the later Harappan. From that, we understood that they have abandoned during the alien Harappan period itself. Okay, next subsistence strategies. How did these IVC people survived? The archaeologists have found that these peoples have ate plant and animal products. Uh, their dietary practices were found from the remains which they left. For example, they they received some particles like charred grains and seeds. Charred grains and seeds was burnt grains and seeds. From that they have understood that they have eaten these materials like wheat, barley, chickpea, sesame, grains and millets, which are recorded from Gujarat. Harappans ate rice but were in very rare quantity. Only certain areas such as Lothal, in these areas only people ate rice. Maximum they ate wheat, barley, chickpeas, and sesame. Please note down these materials which they have eaten. UPSC is unpredictable. They can even ask these questions. Okay, so they have domesticated animals. How did they find that they have domesticated animals? They have recorded the bones of cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, and pig from the area where people live, not from forest, from the area where people lived. So they came to a conclusion that they domesticated these animals. Uh, there were also evidence of wild animals like boar, deer, and gharial. These were recorded from the outside areas. So we got evidence that these animals were present at that time at that place. Even they have found the bones of fish and fowl. Means people have eaten fishes and birds. Okay. From the terracotta sculpture of a bull, they have understood that these bulls have been used in the agriculture purposes, and they have found the use of plough in some areas like Cholistan, Banawali, Haryana. They have also found that people of Harappan civilization people of Harappan civilization had two crops at the same time. For example, I'm saying if they are cultivating chickpea in this area, they would cultivating sesame in the right angle of the same field. From these evidences, they have found that historians will be collecting the seeds or any evident materials of chickpea, and they will be comparing with the other area of sesame materials, and they have found the evidence that these were cultivated at the same time. Okay, even they have got the evidences like in semi-arid areas, Even they had made use of canals for agriculture purposes. They made even they had irrigation purposes, irrigation wells. Okay, they had a large water reservoir. Water reservoir means a huge tank for collecting water for agriculture purposes in Dolavira. So we will be going to the first town, Mohenjo-daro, a planned urban center. Mohenjo-daro town is a something spectacular town. Um, its construction is something different. There are two types of areas in a town. First area is known as Citadel. First area is known as Citadel, and the second area is known as Lower Town. Let me explain what is meant by Citadel and the Lower Town. Okay, so this is Mohenjo-daro town. Mohenjo-daro. This is Citadel. Citadel, and this is Mohenjo-daro. So Lower Town. In between these two towns, there is some gap. Usually, there is some gap. There is also exception in some towns. There is no gap. Okay, usually like this, there will be some gap between these two towns, and this citadel is built on a projected area made up of bricks. Made up of bricks. Projected area made up of bricks. These bricks are burnt, burnt dry. They have used both types of bricks. Some people didn't understand what is burnt bricks and dry bricks. Burnt bricks means bricks made up of firing the clay mud in the fire. Dry bricks means just they will dry it in the open sun. Okay, so the both the type of bricks were used in the citadel, and these citadels were heavily fortified. Even the lower towns are fortified. Lower towns are fortified, but this is heavily fortified. Heavily fortified. These are lower fortified. Lower fortified. Sorry, my handwriting is not good. I'm not accustomed with this pen, so only. This is a new tablet, so only I got this problem. Please adjust with my writings. So you have understood that Citadel is in upper platform and the lower town is in the lower platform. Citadel is the projection of Citadel is made with the bricks, and they are heavily fortified, and the lower town is also fortified. So here there is a social difference also. In citadels, the people who lived in the citadels were royal, rich persons. Okay, the people who lived in the lower towns were normal persons. Okay, so in citadels, it is believed that the administrators of this town were also living in the citadel. So the main public places were built in the citadel, such as you have heard the Great Bath. You have studied in the school itself, Great Bath. Then warehouse, like this great public service buildings are also located in Citadel. So why is warehouse located in Citadel? Um, in warehouse, usually people store granaries of rice, wheat, food items. They store the food items. During the enemy attacks, if they loot the main items of food or main other precious items, the country will be having great devastation. They will have a great economic devastation, social devastation, everything. So, in order to protect, they have stored these materials in the citadel. Okay, so two sections: one smaller, higher citadel built on mud-brick platforms, walls from lower towns, first and another distinctive feature is They have great town planning. First, they have planned how their area or how their town should look like. Then only they have built these towns, not like our present Indian towns. Like first they will build and then they will plan, not like that. They have planned at the starting and they have built these towns. And the bricks they have used is of a standard size. Length and the breadth were four times and twice the height respectively. The drains were perfectly calculated. First they built the drains in the town. First they will build their drains in the town and then only they will build their houses. Okay, at present we are doing the completely opposite. We are building the house, then we are building the drain. But in Harappan civilization, first they have built the drains, then they have built the towns. They have built their houses. Similarly, another important distinctive feature is if this is the main road and this is the side road. If this is the side road, windows will not be located here. Windows will be fully located on the side roads. This is one of the important distinctive feature of the Harappan civilization because they don't want the smoke and dust to get into their house. Many passes by and other important trade activities will happen in the main road, not on the side road. So they constructed their houses on the side road. Every house has a bathroom. Every house has a courtyard on the center of the houses. During the summer season, people will be sitting around here cooking or weaving so that they will get enough air and enough coldness for working. If they sit inside, they won't have enough ventilation. I have already said they have limited windows, so they will be sitting around this courtyard and they will be working. Another these Harappan towns had also had wells. Many houses had wells, and these wells, which is constructed in the house, can be accessed by the public also. This is one of the important feature of the Harappan civilization. So, when the passerby, when the traveler travels through the route, when he feels a thirst, he can use that water. One of the good social feature found in the Harappan civilization. Wells, like that, archaeologists and historians have found that there are around 700 wells in the Mohenjo-daro town. And this is the structure of the house. So you can see the main house here, no windows on the main road. Maybe there are windows on the side of the house, but no windows on the main house. Wells are located here and people can access these wells. And another important feature of these houses are these courtyards cannot be accessed from the door. When you stand here, you cannot see the courtyards directly. See, you can see only this wall, or maximum you can see only this wall, but you cannot see this courtyard. This courtyard is a private area. Okay. Okay. So next we will be moving on to the citadel. Citadel means a projected area in the mountain on the left side of the town. On Citadel, as I have already said, there were public structures such as Great Bath, warehouse, etc. This Great Bath has some certain special features. Great Bath is a large rectangular tank in a courtyard surrounded by three by corridors on four sides. Steps on the northern side and south side. They have watertight bricks. Rooms in the three sides. One was big and drains to the huge drain. Okay, north small 8 bathrooms. Structures may be chill bath. I will explain. So it's a rectangular size and it has a corridors on four sides and this is outside. So in order to access, you have steps on both the north side and south sides. There are rooms on three sides of the room, left side, north side, south side, and on the north side also they have rooms. It is said that on the north side they have 8 bathrooms. they have 8 bathrooms, 3 sides they have rooms, on the 4 side they have corridor, they have entry in north side and south side. And the bricks which are used in this great bath tank are waterproof, watertight, and the ceiling is done by gypsum and mortar. Gypsum and mortar. And this water drained to a huge drain. They can't use this water indefinitely. They have to recirculate. So they have built a huge drain to change the water, to drain the water. Okay. So you have understood the great bath of Mohenjo-daro. There are some social differences also. When the historians and archaeologists opened some graves, they have found that some corpses are buried along with the precious ornaments and precious materials. But on other graves, maximum you will find they will not bury precious materials with the graves, but in few graves we will be finding some precious ornaments along with the corpse. So historians and archaeologists have come to a conclusion that there may be there may exist some social differences among the people in Mohenjo-daro. Okay. Similarly, there were two types of materials. Materials were classified as luxuries and utilitarians. Luxuries means, you know, luxury car means a thing which we use in daily life is known as utilitarian material, which we use for example, if we have to go from one place to another place, we'll be using a bike, which is a normal mode of transport, which comes under the utilitarian. Same at the same time, if I have to go from A to B and I use a Benz car, it is known as luxury, right? So luxuries are not here in this context. Luxuries are classified as costly, non-local materials. Why it is called as non-local materials? For example, in Kashmir, I have a lot of apples, and apples are cheap there. So when I come to South India, I don't get enough apples, and apples are costly here. So it is a non-local material, simple, or with a complicated technology. Complicated technology means I have lot of raw materials, but in order to get the desired output material, I have to go through a lot of process. So here I have to use lot of complex technologies. It is known as a material with a complex technology. For example, they made a pot called as Phyacens pot. It is made up of ground sand or silica, but they have imported some materials and they have changed the color and they have changed the properties of the pot so that the pot looks so beautiful and royal. It is known as Phyacens pot. So you can see the pot here. This is known as Phyacens pot, made of local silica and sand. This is known as a copper mirror. It also comes under the luxuries. Maybe they could have on those times they didn't have technology to find to develop a mirror, so they will be finely polishing and using this copper polished area to look up to look their image. At the same time, the poor people would have used another rock materials to look their image. Rich people will be buying copper materials. Poor people will be buying material with the substandard materials or other rocks. Okay, these are the differences. So, crafts production. So I have already told you to mark or roughly draw the map of Indus Valley civilization and the important points there. In that point, you would have seen Chanhu Daro. Let us see. Where is Chanhu Daro? Chanhu Daro. Chanhu Daro. Sorry, this is Paleolithic. Huh? Chanudar. Oh. So Chanudaro is in the Pakistan side. Okay. So in Chanudaro, they make bead making, shell cutting metal, metal working, seal making, and weight making. Some of the important minerals in which our Harappan people used were carnelian. Carnelian is a red type, is a stone which have a red background, something like transparent red. You can see people wearing rings in which there is some red color ornaments which is made up of carnelian, red color transparent. Some people say it can have good fortunes when you wear such type of stones. Like it is one of the stone known as carnelian. Then jasper, crystal, quartz, stitite. Stitite is a soft rock. Stitite is a soft rock. These Indus Valley civilization people used this stitite rock. They, since stitite is a soft rock, they can crush this soft rock and make it to powder. Make it to powder. And using this powder they can make it to desired shape they want. If they want solid they can make solid, if they want circle they can make circle, if they want triangle they can make triangle. It is a specialty of statite rock and it is a good looking rock also. Okay, cylindrical shape, spherical, barrel shape. Okay, so uh, the sites in which these materials were made, there were process of grinding, drilling, polishing at the site itself. Okay, people have found the drills at Lothal, Chandudaro, and Dolavara. Lothal and Dolavara is in Gujarat. Chandudaro is in Pakistan. So, how historians found these centers of production? Basically, we don't have to see these materials. How can we find that these places are the centers of production? For example, if in a place, let us consider Jharkhand. In Jharkhand, you know, there are a lot of iron mines. So you will come to a conclusion that in these places, iron will be produced, right? So from raw material, you will come to a conclusion that these materials are produced from here. Number two, um, so if you go to a mill site, you will see many powders. If you go near a furniture shop, you will see many powders of wooden dust. From that, you will come to a conclusion that there is a furniture shop there. They are working with the wood. From the waste particles of the wood, you will come to a conclusion that there is a furniture shop. Similarly, while making important crafts, definitely they will get some waste particles, and from that waste particles, they will come to a conclusion that these materials are made in these sites. Okay, some of the spectacular crafts which um, Indus Valley civilization people made. This is a lady in a Tribanga posture. Tribanga posture means you will see a still here there will be a posture different. Here there will be posture different, and from here there will be posture different. This is called as pre-sticking, and these are the beats of Indus Valley people used. Okay, so um, so now UPC will ask a question. For example, whether Harappan people used decorated clothes. So how can you answer that question? Till now we have not studied like that, right? And you will not find those statements on standard books also. Then how can I find that these people used decorated clothes? You have to come conclusion from here. See these images. They have this king has wrapped himself in a decorated cloth. from this you have to come to a conclusion that they used decorated clothes, right? Look here, he has worn an instrument, an ornament. From that, you have to come to a conclusion that they wore uh, some ornaments also, right? They had beard, kings had beard. Like this only, the historians also come to a conclusion. Similarly, also one more extra. Um, the historians cannot come to a conclusion that they were wearing these dresses, right? Because mainly dresses are comes from the plant materials. Dresses comes from the plant materials, and these plant materials are perishables. They will destroy after a certain period of time. So, uh, when these historians and archaeologists were surveying that those areas, they found cotton bonds, evidence of some cotton bonds. Cotton bonds means you got cotton from a seed. Uh, from that seed, the seed has an outer hard shell, and cotton will be in the inside of that hard shell. So they will be opening that hard shell and they will be leaving it there itself. From that evidence, from that outer shell, historians will be coming to a conclusion that people use cotton. Why will be the people using cotton? Cottons are used only for the making dress materials. So from this, people will come to a conclusion that Indus Valley people civilization used cotton materials. Right? Did you understand? Okay. So for example, take our India. In India, we will not have all raw materials within our country itself. Maybe we will be having some raw materials, but we will not be having all raw materials within our country itself. So we have to import some raw materials from other countries. Like that, Indus Valley civilization people also imported certain materials from the other areas also, and they had some raw materials within themselves. And some of the important areas are Nageshwar and Balkot. They had lot of shells. Shortugai in Afghanistan has lapis lazuli. Like I said, carnelian. Carnelian is a red stone. Lapis lazuli is a blue stone material. Okay. In Lothal, Gujarat, they had carnelian, statite and material in metal in Rajasthan. Similarly, out of Harappan area, within few kilometers, means not in Harappan area, Indus Valley civilization area itself, after few distance, for example in K3 in Rajasthan, they imported copper and they got gold from the South India. Okay. Um, there is evidence that these peoples imported from the long distances also. For example, in Oman, they are, um, how do we come to the conclusion that we imported from the Oman? Oman peoples also use copper. Our Indian people also use copper. One of the main ingredients of copper is nickel, and when they compared the nickels of the Oman and India, the constituents are same. Means the source or the raw material for every nickel can't be same. For Oman nickels have special properties, and the nickels extracted from other area have other properties. But the nickel which we got in Harappan area and the nickel which we got in Oman area are same. From that we got the conclusion that we imported copper materials from the Oman. Similarly, in Mesopotamia text, they have written two words known as Magan and Melhua. Magan means it is a name of Magan is a name of Oman in Mesopotamia text. Okay, in Roman I don't know which language they use. In their language, Magan means Oman and Melhua means Harappa. So these Mesopotamia people imported same copper materials from Oman, and they imported materials like carnelian, lapis lazuli, gold, copper from Melhua means Harappan region. Similarly, in Bahrain, we found coins which is called as Tilmun, which have same standard similar to Harappan coins. What this similarity says that maybe these coins could have imported from our country or from them be imported. That we don't know. Maybe okay. Similarly, in some seals, we found the evidence of boat structure, which clearly says that we had a long trade communications. Okay, and the seals had writings, not writings means not in alphabets in seals. Most of the seals have writings in short characters, but some seals have maximum of 26 characters. Okay, there are in English we have 26 alphabets. Similarly, they have signs range varying from 375 to 400 that we can't decipher. Maybe we can get something new tomorrow. So they are saying in approximately from 375 to 400 they have got signs of Harappan scripts, and they have found another important observation also. These peoples write from right to left. How did they come to this conclusion, sir? When they ask, uh, for example, in our answer paper, we will be writing our register number. Uh, so for example, if we have, so leave it. I will say another example. In this box, I have to write my name. Okay, so I am writing my name as. What I will do is at starting I will be writing elaborately. Then I will come to know that there is only less space left. So I will be writing shortly. Like this I will be writing. Okay. From this we can understand I am writing from left to right. Similarly, Harappan peoples now they will be writing they will be having their signs from right very elaborately. When they come to left, they will be using less space. From this, we got a conclusion that they are writing from right to left. Not only we found these scripts on seals, we have found these scripts on copper bars, jewelry, bone rods, and even perishable materials. And at that time itself, they had weights. Now we have stones now, 5 kg stone, 1 kg stone, 10 kg stone. At the time itself they had weights, and the material which they use for weight stones are chert, material known as chert. Okay, and the lower weights such as 1 kg or 2 kg, 4 kg, lower weights are written in binary. Binary means 1 plus 1 2, and 2 means 2 plus 2 4, 4 means 4 plus 4 8. Like that it will progress. Higher in normal decimal, like the numbers right which we write in the series of 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, like that higher in decimal. Now we have weight of 1 kg. After that I think 5 kg, like that we will go lower, but for them they have in binary 1 2 4 8. For this higher, then 100 series, 1000 series, 10,000 series, then lakh, like that they will be moving on. Next, in Harappan civilization, we are not sure of they had a strong administration. They had a clean, or they how things moved in their administration. But one thing was sure that certain decisions were that were complex were taken and were implemented. You can see we have already studied that they had a strong town planning. Before constructing a house, they will be constructing the street roads, they will be constructing the drains, then only they will allow houses to be constructed. Okay, and they had a similar type of bricks they imported and exported. From all this, we have to come to a conclusion that some authority should be there for taking a note on how the things should be moved, right? Without any uniformity, things would have been very much different. But you can see every bricks are in standard size, every houses are in similar shape. So there would be some type of authority, but we don't know in which type of government did they have. Okay, some say that there would have been a king. From what conclusion they are saying that there would have been a king? From the priest statue which we got. They are saying that there would have been king. Some other historians say that no chance, everyone is treated equally in Harappan civilization. So, how did this civilization end? Civilization evidence shows that around 8800 ABC, people around Cholistan abandoned it. How did this? How did historians found and people from Cholistan abandoned? Uh, when they tested in the Cholistan, they got materials till 1800 BC. After that, they didn't get any material. From that conclusion, they came people abandoned from Cholistan around 1800 BC, and they got evidence of people moved to Gujarat, Haryana. They just migrated to other areas, and transformation of material culture. The historians can see the difference of material culture from one time to another time. For example, if they consider beads, they can see the clear difference of structure of beads, composition of beads, how the beads are made, the technology that has changed in bead making, transformation of material culture. Some of the reasons they are saying for destruction of Harappan civilization is climate change, deforestation, or excess floods. But certainty they are not certain. They are not certain, or they did not conclude that this is the main reason for destruction. Maybe these are the reasons for the destruction. Like that, they have said and concluded. Okay. So, how did they find about the Harappan civilization? Cunningham, one of the chief engineer on the while he was working, he got a seal. He was engineer and a archaeologist. He got a seal, but he didn't get what is scripted in that seal. He got some strange signs. One bull sign. You can see that seal here. So he didn't get a conclusion. So just abandoned it. Okay. After that, in 20th century, Daya Ram Sahini, an Indian, found some seals in Harappa. The Akaldas Banerjee found some seals in Mohenjo-daro. After that, a Director General of Archaeologist John Marshall came to a conclusion, and he said that a big civilization known as Indus Valley Civilization existed in India, and he made a proclamation in 1924. After that, R.E.M. Wheeler was the first person to find through the technique called as stratigraphy of Earth. Actually, this is a land area. Okay, this is land, and some materials, old materials, are lying below the ground level. Some materials here, some materials here. Before that, these peoples were excavating they were excavating in a horizontal, and they were taking out the materials, and they were researching what they will get that these materials of a particular time period, because for let us consider an example. Wait. Okay, a person known as A lived in this area, and he used certain materials, and after this after the use of certain materials, he deposited or he dumped into this area. After that, dust accumulated, and his materials got dumped deep inside. After that, B came. He dumped certain materials in that area. After that, dust collected, and again C came. He dumped certain materials. Now excavators are coming, and they are excavating horizontally. They will get the materials of C of a particular time period, but they will not get the materials of A and B, right? So REM Wheeler is the first person who excavated vertically, that is stratigraphy of the mound, and he classified the materials that he recovered, the material which belonged to this century, material that belonged to that century. He was the first person to classify those materials. Okay, so Arim Wheeler was the first to follow the stratigraphy of the mound. Findings and interpretation. These Harappan civilization, Harappan people did not have, sorry, these peoples had script, but we can't decipher this script. So, how can we interpret and how can we find their way of living? By using materials. If we get any material, I, for example, if I get a material and that material is strange to me, the first thing my mind says is I will be comparing this material with the present day material, right? I will be comparing with the present day material. For example, if I get a statue like this, I will be comparing this statue. The thing that comes into my mind will be goddess. Goddess will be come to my mind. June will come to my mind. Royals will come to my mind. Like that, I will be classifying certain types. From like similarly, historians and archaeologists found this statue, and they assume that it may be of the goddess. It may be the statue of goddess. Like that, they got a statue of. They got a seal of this man sitting like this. They combined with the present type, and they came to a conclusion that it may be a statue of Shiva, and they named it as Proto Shiva. It is not 100% confirmed. Still, they came to a conclusion, and they came to a conclusion that animals like elephant, one-horned rhinoceros, bull were used at those times. And they came to see great path fire altars in Kalibagan and Lothal, and they also saw some plant motifs, and they came to a conclusion that plants were worshipped during those times. Okay, and I have said already resemblance with the present day materials, indirect evidence from cotton ball to cloth, sculptures, one horn animal, unicorn mystical creature, cross-legged yogi as Proto Shiva, and they got some conical stone objects also, and they compared with the present time materials, and they came to the conclusion that it may be linga which was in the shape of cone, and it may be a representation of Lord Shiva, representation of Shiva. Like this only they found and interpreted the Harappan sculptures, right? So this is important timeline which I have given in the first itself. We can see that. So kings, farmers, and towns, early state and economies. Okay, so after the demise of Indus Valley civilization, there came a period called as Vedic period. Vedic period. After that, we got Mahajanapadas, Buddhist, Jainist belong during this period, and some Magadha, rise of Magadha, Haryana, Haryanka, Shishunaga dynasty, like these dynasties existed. Then Mauryan, like this. Then Gupta, Harshavardhana. Okay, so till now, archaeologists and historians can only see the material, but they can't. They can only find the material history of the Harappan peoples. At this time, James Princip, an officer in British Raj, were deciphering the old materials, and he uh, saw a material in which It was deciphered in which it is inscripted as Piyadasi, Piyadasi, and it was written in Brahmi script. The meaning of Piyadasi is present to behold. Present to behold means pleasant to behold. Pleasant to behold means uh, you can understand the literary meaning. Pleasant to be behold. Such a good one. Priyadasan. Lovely son. Like that. And he saw many inscriptions with the same name Priyadasi. Uh, After many interpretations and studies, he found that it is the pet name of King Ashoka. Okay, so when they came to know about the name of a king, their aim or their focus on studying material and cultural history changed to the political history. Okay, so we will be starting from the base. After the Harappan civilization, um, there came there came the greatest Vedic culture. We didn't get any enough material or enough data from the Vedic culture because in Vedic culture the materials they used were perishable, such as wood, which will be easily destructible, and we didn't get any evidence of how their houses were, how their materials were. Even the writings were in leaves, so we didn't get enough concrete evidences from the Vedic culture. Even though we got certain Vedas, we didn't get their way of life. We didn't get a full vision of Vedic culture. So I will be discussing the Vedic culture. We will be seeing the 16 Mahajanapadas. Around 6th century BC, in Harappan civilization, we have seen that uh, they use a bronze and copper to a large scale, but they didn't use the copper, Iron Age. So during the age of 6th century BC, use of iron was developed and they developed coins. At the same time, Buddhism and Jainism flourished. Even the Buddhists and Jainists refer these 16 Mahajanapadas. Even the Buddhist and the Jainist king, Lord Buddha and Lord Mahavira came from these Mahajanapadas. Okay. There were kings also, Ganas or Sanghas. Ganas or Sanghas means it is a type of uh, democratic selection or democratic decision making body. Mahavira and Buddha came from these Ganas. Okay, the language which were used by the common people during these times were Prakrit. During the Vedic age, people mostly used Sanskrit language. Here, people used common language as Prakrit. During this time, only Brahmanas composed Brahma Sutras, laid rules for the rulers. I will tell you why Brahmanas composed the Dharma Sutras and laid rules for the rulers. During this time, it was the later Vedic period and it was transiting to the next period. During these times, the Brahmins' rules were questioned by the people, and the great philosophers such as Buddha and Mahavira came into the picture, and people started transforming to the Buddhist and Jainist, and they started questioning the Brahmanas. So, in order to control them, Brahmanas wrote a book called as Dharma Sutras, and they said and they gave it to the king, and they told the king to implement these rules. This was the history of Dharma Sutras, and this was time of starting of standing army in the kingdom. So you will be asking a question. Before that, didn't we have a standing army? In Harappan and Indus Valley civilization, we didn't have any evidence of standing army. We didn't have any evidence of army. Okay, even though we have studied that they have fortified, but we didn't have any evidence of war. Okay, so after that, we had Vedic age. In the Vedic age, there were groups of people in a village. If any other village or any other community comes and attack them, these people who are working there and who are living there, will collectively go and fight. It means they didn't have any standing army. The people who were living in the villages itself started to fight. From the Mahajanapadas only, we got the evidence that people started to use the regular standing army. Okay, so these are the 16 Mahajanapadas. In the north we have Cambodia, Gandhara. Gandhara we have heard in Mahabharata text. Kuru, Pandavas, and we have heard in Mahabharata Kuru kingdom. Panjala, Kosi, Malla, Vraji, Kashi, Anga, Magadha, Chesa. Please look after this map. UPC is unpredictable. They will say from north to south. They will give four options and you have to give an answer. Okay. Among these 16 Mahajanapadas, certain areas were important. They were Vaji, Magadha, Koshala, Kuru, Panchala, Gandhara, Avanti were famous. So, among these 16, Magadha came as a top one. Why? Because the area where Magadha is lying is along the tracks of Ganga river, right? And the next advantage is to the south of Magadha, we know there is Jharkhand, where we have many iron minefields. So they used extensively these iron minefields to make weapons, instruments, iron plowing fields, and their economy developed, their military developed, everything, social status developed. So Magadha came as a victorious one. Uh, this Magadha, this details about Magadha is given in Buddhist and Jain texts. Okay. Uh, some of the important kingdoms, not only Mauryan dynasty, we have to, when we think about Magadha, I don't know, when I think about Magadha at the starting, the first thing that came to my mind is Mauryan dynasty. But not only Mauryan dynasty, before Mauryan dynasty itself, Magadha were raised to a great prominence, like kings of Haryanka dynasty. Okay, then Nanda dynasty. These peoples are also from Haryanka dynasty, Nanda dynasty. These peoples were also from this same Magadha. Okay. Initially, the capital of Magadha was Rajagraha, but later it was transferred to Pataliputra near Bihar. Okay. So, we will be studying about Mauryan dynasty. Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya, we are not certain that to which caste he belonged. Some historians says that he is a Kshatriya warrior. Some says he is a belong to Shudra warriors. We are not certain about it, but he is he founded the empire called as Mauryan Empire, and you know the story of Chanakya, how Chanakya dethroned the wicked king Dhanananda and made Chandragupta Maurya the great empire of Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta Maurya Empire started from the Afghanistan in the north, and it extended till south during Chandragupta Maurya's empire, and during Bimbisara annexed empire, it extended till the south. They only left Kalinga, and during the kingdom of Ashoka, he even conquered Kalinga. And you know the story of Kalinga, in which he changed his perspective and he started the policy of Dhamma. Okay, so he even appointed certain officers known as Dhammamata for propagating the policies of Dhamma. Uh, he had installed many inscriptions in which he gave the ideas of respecting towards elders, generosity towards Brahmins, treating slave and servants likely. Okay. Uh, for during the Mauryan Empire, they had five capitals. Central capital is Pataliputra. Pataliputra. Southern capital is Swarnagiri. near the Karnataka. Northern capital is Taxila, and the western capital is Ujjayani, and the eastern capital is Toshali. These capitals are classified according to their administration convenience. And Ashoka constructed many major rocketics, minor rocketics, pillar rocketics all across his empire. You can see here. One of the books of Megasthenes was an ambassador of Chandragupta Maurya. Says that Mauryan Empire had an army. An army had six subcommittees. Each subcommittee for subcommittees. No, first subcommittee for navy, second committee for only for transport, third for only for foot soldiers, fourth only for horses, fifth only for chariots, and sixth for elephants. I said even Ashoka appointed special officers known as Dhamma Mahamata to spread the message of Dhamma. Mauryan Empire ruled only for 150 years, but they had a strong empire and a vast empire. At the same time, in the south of India, there were kingdoms, not kingdoms, there were empires, but there were not kings, they were not kings. Instead, they were chiefs and chiefdoms. Chiefs and chiefdoms. These were inscribed in the text called as Sangam. Similarly, in Andhra, central and the western India, Andhra, not Karnataka, Maharashtra, Karnataka, on those areas, Satvahanas ruled, and Shakas on the areas of Gujarat, Pakistan areas, Shakas ruled. These kings, how did they claim the high status? They said that, for example, some kings came from the lower community. As you can see, some kings came from the outside community of India. If they have to rule the people of those areas, they have to make some special claims. One of the special claims that they made to the people of their empire was they were of divine origin. They are the sons of God. When they have sons of God, they have special abilities. People will ultimately fear, and they will give their loyalty to their king. Kushanas during the first century came from the Central Asia and conquered some parts of the India. And in order to hold their position, what they said was they were the son of gods, and their titles were given as Devaputra. Okay. Similarly, Kushanas after that, Gupta's empire came into the picture. During the empire of Gupta people didn't control the India fully. Wait, Guptas didn't controlled directly the whole empire. Instead, they appointed feudal lords and they gave areas to them. First they will be giving first feudal lord this area, second feudal lord this area, third feudal lord this area, fourth feudal lord this area, fifth feudal lord this area. And we have already seen the story of Harshavardhana, Vardhana dynasty, Maukaris, Malwas, like that we have seen many feudatories of Gupta. When the Gupta Empire, the king under the Gupta Empire is strong, he will control these feudatories and he will control the government efficiently. When the king under the Gupta Empire is weak, these feudal lords take advantage of the position and they will establish their own government. Like that only, after the demise of Gupta Empire, other empires such as Vardha dynasty, Pushyabhuti dynasty, Maukaris, Malwa, Shashanka dynasties emerged in India. Okay. So you came up perception of Samantas. So these were called as feudal lords were called as Samantas. Perception about the king. Um, till now, historians have seen only the inscriptions which were written by the nobles who were working in the court or in the palace. When they were working under the control of the king, uh, they can write only the praise about the king, and they cannot write anything bad about the king. If they write bad about the king, their head will not be there in their body, right? So they have to write praises about the king. Like one of the Prashasti known as Prayaga Prashasti, which is in Allahabad, which is written by Harish Sena, who is a courtier of King Samudragupta. He has praised that king is a very good person, noble person, virtue person. We can't take it in the face value because it is written by a courtier of the king. So, in order to understand the perception of the people, they have it can be understood only by the people's ideas. People's ideas can be understood only by reading their folk stories or folk songs like Panchatantra, like the Jadagas, the stories written by local people. From that only we can understand. The perception of the people is different from the perception which is written by the quoted. Perception people say that these kings taxed heavily, so they were dissatisfied with the government. Most of the people were dissatisfied with the government. Okay, for strategies for increasing production. Uh, During these times, we know that iron age has started. Before that, we were not using iron. We were using wood or copper or bronze. Copper and bronze are costlier, and normal people can't use. Uh, Iron was found to be abundant, and we had lot of irons, and it was cheap. Before that, for plowing, agriculture people used wood for plowing. When they used wood for plowing, they can't plow efficiently. But when they got iron tipped plow, the efficiency of agriculture improved drastically, and the output also increased. Even though the agriculture improved, it did not spread equally. Rural peoples did not get the benefit of iron tip plowed agriculture. They were still using the same old methods. Okay, and in rural areas, there were landless agricultural laborers, small peasants, large landholders. Gahapati means head of the house. Okay, our second and third categories. Even there are large landholders, village headmen, who are hereditary. These are the peoples in rural societies. In Sangam text also says about the rural societies. And Sangam text they use the terms such as Vellalar, Udavar. Udavar means workers, peasants, adimai, slaves. Okay. So land grants are rural elites. From earlier heads up, we have heard about the inscriptions, copper inscriptions, stone inscriptions. In the copper and stone inscriptions, people have written. They have given large amount of donations to these people, to the Brahmana, like that. They have written about their donation details in these inscriptions, and we can see even now. Normally, in the empire, as per the Manusprity, only the people, as per the Manusprity, only men can access to the wealth. But there were some exceptions. For example, Prabhavati Gupta, daughter of Chandragupta II, as an important ruler. She was married to the king of Akatakas. Since she is the only daughter of Chandragupta II, she held resources. She was held access to the resources. But inscription says that a woman can't have, but this is an exception. Okay. Some historians say that this was a strategy to control the empire. We have seen the Chandragupta too. So, in order to control the empire, they will be coming deal with the feudal lords or samantas to control their emperor. Some historians say that the kings have become weak and they have to adjust to the samantas, so they have to give their lands. So there are both type of perspectives that this was a strategy, and some people say that this is the weakness of the kingdom. Urban people population used many type of bowls, pottery bowls Pottery bowls means they used a bowl called as NBPW, Northern Black Polished Ware, which was used in during the periods of Mahajanapadas, Mauryas, during the period of during the period of Harappan dynasty. They used pottery known as grey ware. First they used grey, then came northern black polished ware. First grey, then black. You can um, make this understanding from light color to dark color. They also used materials made up of gold, silver, copper, bronze, ivory, glass, even ivory, glass, shell, and terracotta. Glass is developed by now. We have seen in Harappan civilization, people didn't have that technology to develop glass, so they used copper mirrors and other type of mirrors. But ivory, glass, shell, and terracotta were developed during these periods. These peoples had access of trade to Central Asia, Africa, and many areas. Some of the merchant terms which we found in the different languages are Satvahas. In Prakrit, Satvahas means merchant. In Tamil, Settis means merchant. Settis means in Tamil Nadu people know Setyar. Settis means merchants. Also, Masuttuvan is a term for merchant in Tamil. The main traded materials are salt, grain, cloth, metals, finished products, stone, timber, medical plants, even Roman spices to the Roman Empire. To some extent, trade was made in coins, punched marks, silver and copper in 6th century BC. 6th century BC, punched mark coins of silver and copper were used. Attempts to identify king and empire. We can see the images of kings and empires in the seals, punched mark seals. First to bear names and images of empires were Indo-Greek kings. Bear names and images. Okay, merchants also have their images on the coins. First person to issue the gold coins was Kushanas on the large quantity. Kushanas was the first person to issue the coins on large quantity. It was similar to their contemporary Roman Empire. Okay, even the tribal republics of Haryana and Punjab also used coins in their trade during that time. Um, Beautiful coins emerged during the Gupta Empire. It had images of a goddess like that, king playing veena. Coins, the images of beautiful inscriptions were found in the Gupta Empire. So you can see the images. These are the tribal coins of Punjab and Haryana. These were the coins of Gupta Empire. These were the coins of Indo-Greeks, deciphering Brahmi. So the most modernmost scripts from Brahmi. Um, Brahmi scripts were deciphered by, as we have seen when James Princip were studying different type of scripts. He came to I came to see a word called as Piyadasi in Brahmi script. Brahmi script was similar to the modern language, so they easily deciphered and found the script known as Brahmi script, which was similar to the Bengali Devanagiri. Devanagiri is Hindi, the present language which we are using now. Similarly, they found another script known as Kharosthi. Kharosthi means Indo-Iran script. It also consists of some of the constituents of Indian language and Iran language. So when we have some constituents of Indo script, Indian language, they found the Kharosthi script also easily. Kharosthi script was found mainly on the areas of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the Rajasthan, Gujarat, on some areas of Rajasthan and Gujarat. So you can find the uh, timeline here. Okay, so one of the greatest pilgrims during the Harshavardhana period is Swan Sang, and during one of the greatest pilgrims during the Gupta period was, oh, they didn't write Gupta period, was Fazian, and Shakas, and okay, every points we have discussed. So, shall we take a small break? Hmm? Okay. For we shall take a small break for 20 minutes. Hi guys, I am back. Since rest of the portion is less, I have cutted my break time, so we will continue and we will complete this marathon session faster. Okay. So third topic is kinship, caste, and class. Um, we knew that the top. We knew that after the Harappan civilization, Vedic age started. Uh, in the later Vedic age, they started a new type of distinction called as caste system. Okay, on early Vedic period there were distinction, but it was not rigid. But in the later Vedic period, the distinction became stronger. Several common elements in Sanskrit evident from the scripts received all over the Indian subcontinent, mainly from the Sanskrit text written by the Brahmins. Yeah, mainly the Sanskrit text written by the Brahmins. Also, they have written their experience in the Buddhist texts in Pali, Prakrit, and Tamil by the common people. Sanskrit texts are usually authoritative because they maximum Sanskrit language is used by the Brahmins. So it will be authoritative. You should be like this. You should be doing like that. Like that. Maximum text for, in the language of Sanskrit is authoritative, and we have the way of social life is patrilineal. Patrilineal means um, a father who is a king. His son can only get the throne, but not his daughter. This is known as patrilineal. Only the son can access the throne, not the daughter. So the society is patrilineal, and we have seen the example of patrilineal in Mahabharata itself. War of Kauravas and Pandavas of Kuru Mahajana denotes a patrilineal society. From the from the sixth most dynasties patrilineal, some situations brothers or other kinsmen something sometimes rare women. We have seen the story of Prabhavati Gupta. Under rare circumstances, even women can get the throne. Example Prabhavati Gupta. Is also this patrilineal society is also seen in the Rig Veda. Rules of the marriage. Max, Sanskrit text and maximum people they want Sanskrit text and maximum people want their son as their hereditary. They want the continuation of this patrilineage. They don't want a girl child. Even Sanskrit texts encourage people to have a son child. Similarly, marrying outside the family of kin is desirable. Within a same family, marriage is not desirable. Exogamy means family marrying a daughter to the outside, marrying the son to the outside of the family is known as exogamy. Kanyadana term in Sanskrit text. It means gift of a doctor in a gift of a doctor in a marriage by a father. With modernization, people question the belief. Brahmanas composed Dharma Sutra and Dharma Shastras. Manusmriti. Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastra recognize 8 forms of marriage. I have already said, with the coming of great philosophers, people got the idea that these texts are not authoritative and these texts are not original, uh, and they began to start out of the box, and these great philosophers made them to think outside the box, such as Buddha and Buddha and Lord Mahavira. In Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastras, they recognize 8 forms of marriage, such as Brahma marriage. Brahma marriage is a normal form of marriage. Brahma marriage is a normal form of marriage. Daiva marriage. Daiva marriage means a father is giving her daughter to a priest to carry some special prayers like that. Is gifting his daughter to the priest. It is known as divine Daiva marriage. Arsh, Arsha marriage and Prajapatya marriage. Prajapatya marriage means he is giving his cattle and cows to the father of the doctor in return of his doctor. It is known as Prajapatya marriage. These marriages are considered approved. These marriages are considered good and they are approved marriages. Similarly, there are some unapproved marriages. These marriages are Ashura marriage. Ashura marriage means uh, the girl, without the consent of the girl, he gets the girl for a price and marries that girl. He purchased this, in literal words, he purchases that girl and marries her. It is known as Ashura marriage. Gandharva marriage is the present love marriage, is known as Gandharva marriage. It is an unapproved marriage in our in our text. Okay. And Rakshasa marriage is kidnapping a girl and marrying her is known as Rakshasa marriage and Paisacha marriage. These are the marriage. You next we come across we are studying about the caste. In that uh, one of the categories gotras. So what is meant by gotras? Every family name, every person name will be ending up by a name of their own gotra. For example, in Satvahana kings, Gautami Putta, Siri Satkani means he's a Putta means son, son of Gautami. Gautami is her mother. This Gautami name came from Gautam, a Vedic Gautam, a Vedic saint. So every name, every Gotra comes from a Vedic saint. Okay, and even though the Satvahanas people keep their mother's name in their name, uh, it doesn't mean that they follow matrilineal. They follow the patrilineal only. Patrilineal means his son only can become the king, not his daughter. Okay. Social differences. So social differences means caste. We can see the caste system. Hierarchically ordered social categories as laid in Dharmashastras and Dharmashastra. In the caste system, there were four types of caste. The castes were Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, and uh, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, and Vaishyas. Sorry, Vaishyas. So Brahmanas were the in the top ranking, and next come Kshatriyas, who are the warrior classes. They were the priest classes. Brahmanas were priest classes. Kshatriyas were the warrior classes. Vaishyas were the merchant peoples, and Shudras were the peoples who were peasants who do who do work such as uh, uh, handling the corpses, clearing the drainage, like that. People who do works are classified as Shudras. Vaishyas people also see agriculture, pastoralism, and trade. Okay. In order to strictly implement this caste system, Brahmanas wrote a book and like Dharma Sutras and Dharma Shastras and gave it to the king and told him to implement this very strictly. And kings have to obey them because these Brahmana peoples made an image that God can be communicated uh, only through them. Peoples can't communicate with the God directly. Peoples can communicate to the God through the messenger called as through the centerman called as Brahmanas. So they have to obey them. Similarly, they said this Varnas is of divine origin. Only God give. We have seen the some pictures like Brahma's head is known as Brahmana, and their chest is called as Kshatriyas. Like that you have seen, and their legs are called as Sutras. According to the Shastras, only Kshatriya can become king. But there's a long debate topic on how Mauryas became the kings. Um, During the Maurya's kingdom, many kings converted to Buddhist and Jainist. You know that Ashoka converted to the Buddhist. Chandragupta Maurya became a Jain monk. So they mainly concentrated on the Buddhist values. Even though they didn't disturb other religions, Brahmanas and other warriors found offended, and during the last time of Mauryan empires after Ashoka, the Mauryan empire became weak, and one of the ministers in the Mauryan empire cabinet was of Brahmana category. He attacked and defeated the last Mauryan king, and a minister from the Shunga, a Brahmin minister, found a new emperor known as Shunga dynasty. After the Shunga dynasty, Kanva's dynasty came. They are also of the Brahmin origin. Then came Shakas, people from Central Asia. They established their empire. They were called as Mellachas by our people. Mellachas means barbarians. In our Sanskrit text, Mellachas means barbarians. People from Central Asia is considered as Mellachas because they don't come under the four category of our caste system. But some kings such as Rudraman of Shaka Empire were greatly inspired by the Hindu system and became a great Bhakt of Lord Shiva. And he even built a great lake known as Sudarshana Lake. Similarly, but the ruling class were always not rigid. The people who got the opportunity to rule were from different communities. You can see the Shunga and Kanva were from Brahmana dynasty. Similarly, Satvahana dynasty. Satvahana Gautami Putra Sri Satkani was a Brahmin, and he hated the Kshatriya people. So the ruling class were from different classes of origin. Another term Jati based on birth. Um, the Varnas were of four Jati unlimited. So another term, another term for the caste was Jati. It was also based on the birth. First the caste system when it emerged from the level of occupation. If the person is doing this occupation on the early Vedic period, when this caste system came, it was based on the occupation. When he is doing this occupation, he is considered to be this caste. When he is doing this occupation, he is considered to be this caste. On the later Vedic period, it became by birth. Okay, and apart from these four categories, some new categories such as goldsmith, Swarnakara, they are called as Swarnakara. People living in forest, Nishadas, also came into the picture. So four types of jadis and their triangle and their level. On the top level, Brahmins. This is irrelevant. On the top level is Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras. Beyond foreigners, they were considered as odd and civilized, for example, Nishada. Beyond foreigners, there were also certain people known as Nishadas who were living in the forest. Nomadic pastoralists, the people who were living in the mountain, and they do livestock farming. During winter seasons, they will come to the plains, and during the summer seasons, they will go to the mountains. These type of nomadic pastoralists were considered as Mellachas. We have already seen the Mellachas term for Shakas, who are known as barbarians in the Sanskrit. Others such as untouchables, handler of corpses, dead animals, they were considered as Shudras or untouchables. Uh, these peoples had went through a lot of agony, I have to say. Certain text says that these people could not walk in the cities during night time because during night time at present we have many street lights. During those times there were no street lights, so when these people walks through the streets, other community people have chances of getting a clash with them. So clash means getting in touch with them. So these peoples were not allowed to walk in the night time. Similarly, a Chinese traveler Fazian during the Gupta Empire, he have also noted that when these people walked in the streets, they have to clap so that other people will hear their sounds and they will be looking in the another direction where these people were walking, because they should not even see these people, not even touching. They should not even see these peoples. Okay, so beyond birth resources and statuses, this already have discussed. According to Monastery, only resources have to be transferred to sons, not doctors. But in some exceptions, doctors can have it. And for women, there is one good news in this thing, that is um, this dowry known as Tridana will be given by female family member to the male family member. This female, that is wife, can have access to this Tridana and husband cannot have any claim on it. Okay. Even after the death of the wife, husband cannot use this. Only the son can use this Tridana. Similarly, Varna has access to the property. According to the rules laid by the Brahmins, they would have clearly written rules in favor of them, and most of the properties belong to the Brahmana and Kshatriya class. Others had less property access. But an alternative system was in South India. In South India, we have seen that between 300 BCE and 300 AD, uh, chiefs and chiefdoms rule were in the South India. These peoples shared their property with other peoples. When they receive gifts, they will share these gifts with the other peoples. And these things have been recorded in the text called as Sangam text, and they have been traced in the Sangam text. So the Brahmanas have recorded, not only Brahmanas, Buddhists, Jains, everyone has recorded their content in textbooks. These contents were of two types. They were known as narrative and didactic. So, what is meant by narrative? Narrative means social message. Didactic means a instruction which is given in the form of story. Social message means you can follow or not. They are giving you a social message. They are giving you advice. You can follow or not. It is known as narrative. Didactic means you have to follow this or you will follow the consequences. That is meant by didactic, making us fear. For example, karma. If you don't follow this, you will get this karma. This is known as didactic. So, it is believed that Mahabharata is generally dramatic and didactic sessions are added later. Okay. Similarly, these books were at the first. It is believed that it is written by the stories of the kings and the nobles were written by the people who were accompanied with the great kings. They were known as sutas. But later, these responsibilities were taken care by the Brahmins and they composed books from then onwards. So, some of the major textual traditions we can see here. On 500 BC, Ashtadhyayi of Panini, a work on Sanskrit grammar, was written. On 500 to 2 major Dharma Sutras. 500 to 100 BC, early Buddhist text. 500 to 400 century. Even during Gupta Empire, Ramayana and Mahabharata were written. Similarly, 200 BC to 200 CE, Manusmriti. During 100 AD, Charaka and Sushruta Samhitas. During 200 AD, compilation of Puranas. And 300 century, Natya Shastra of Bharda, working on dramaturgy in Sanskrit. This is one of important book. We will see this Natya Shastra in culture. Okay. Other Dharma Shastras, 450 Sanskrit plays a work of Kalidas. Kalidas is a court poet of Gupta Empire. Okay. Working on astronomy, mathematics by Aryabhatta, Varaha, Mihra, compilation of Jain books in Prakrit. Few important topics are left, such as Peter. Few important topics such as such as kings, kings, their court poets, important works, their important works, each and every king's empire and the social condition of people. Next, king's court poets, and next inscriptions of these kings. These topics are not given in Ncert, and I have also not added in this video. Based on your suggestions only, I have to decide whether I have to add or not. So please look after this video, and if you find this video satisfactory, please comment so that I will be adding a new video. Okay, based on the feedback only I can add. I have to decide whether I have to add or not. Okay, so next topic. Last topic, thinkers, beliefs and buildings. You know that this is known as stupa. Stupa. So we will be seeing what is in stupa now itself. Okay, even though we will be discussing later, we can see now itself what is in stupa. This structure now. This is in shape of half egg, right? So this structure is known as anda, right? This path now, you can see a railing here. Huh? In this railing only people rotate this stupa. It is known as Medi. Okay, and this structure now, in which three plates have been kept, it is known as HT. In Buddhist tradition, there are three types of Pitakas: Vinaya Pitaka, Abhidharma Pitaka, and Suddha Pitaka. Those three Pitakas were a representation of these three plates. Below that, there is one rectangular box now. It is known as Harmika. It is also a rail. It is known as Harmika. Okay, so uh, to get to the upwards, there is one step known as Sopana. Dream, Sopana. You have to get upward. It is a dream, so it is called as Sopana. So I have already discussed. And in outside also there is a circumambulatory passage. Okay, and the outer rings is known as Vedika. Outer rings. This is known as Vedika. And this one, this gateway is in all directions, east, west, north, south. It is known as Torana. In South India, we will call Torana. We will be for important functions. We will be tying banana tree in our gates. It is known as Toran. Same Torana. So again, I will be repeating what is so that you can understand. White screen, anda, afik anda, harmika, three plate ST. Okay, and you get one circumambulatory path is known as, I forget it. And here you will find fence Vedika, and one step to upwards to this circumambulatory path known as Sopana, and the gate of four entrance known as Torana. We will see what is that circumambulatory path. Medi. Okay, Medi. So next, sacrifices and debates. Um, During this time period, there were a lot of sacrifices, and there were a lot of rules and regulations among the people, which were laid by Dharma Sustras and Dharma Shastras written by Brahmanas. And the lower community people have to follow that, and they were suppressed. You know, when people are suppressed, definitely they will have a resentment, and they feel that they should have they too want the same privilege that upper community caste peoples. enjoy. So during these periods, there were a lot of scholars during these periods, such as Mahavira Buddha in Iran, Saurashtra, China, Kongzi, and some of the great philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle in Greece. These were some of the great scholars during the same contemporary period. In our sacrificial tradition, it is in Rig Veda, and our we are in we worship Agni, Indra, and Soma. According to the yearly Vedic period, people worship Agni, Indra, and Soma. Um, People preferred only sons, not the doctors. That is, people prayed for cattle sons, good life and long health. Only cattle sons and sons, not daughters, cattle sons, good life and long health. So, the saints like Mahavira and Jaina, they went street to street and they debated with the people. And when people get convinced, these people also joined with these communities. Okay, men and women strive for the. These great philosophers say that everyone can get liberation when they strive, which is in contrast to the Brahmana philosophy. They questioned about the Vedas, and the validity of scriptures. So first, let us see Lord Mahavira. The basic philosophy of Jainism was already there before Vardhamana Mahavira. Without the many people's conception is that Jainism was founded by Mahavira, but it is not like that. Uh, Basic philosophy of Jainism was already there before Vardhamana Mahavira. Before him, there were 23 Tirthankaras. Tirthankaras is the term which is used for the great saints. There were 23 Tirthankaras. After that, only Lord Mahavira, whose name is Vardhamana, came. Vardhamana's name is later converted to Mahavira. His idea is entire world is animated. Even the stone, rocks, and water have life. Everything is like everything in the world have life. Everything is already animated. Everything is already planned. Okay, so our one of the our important goal is to get liberation. In the way of liberation, we should not do any injury to any living beings. Practice of ahimsa. Cycle of birth and death is shaped through one and only karma. Okay, in order to get the liberation, you have to practice strong asceticism and penance. Asceticism and penance means some strong spiritual works, such as you should not you should not wear clothes, you should not eat extra items, and some of the asceticisms like ahimsa, you should follow the character of ahimsa, you should follow brahmacharya, you should speak always truth, you should not steal, you should not possess any properties like that. Lord Mahavira and Jainism, not Lord Mahavira, Jainism religion preaches us. And the terms for ahimsa, brahmacharya, satya, and aparigraha. Now we shall see the details of Mahavira. Mahavira was born on the 13th bright half moon day of the month Chaitra. Chaitra. His father was a king Siddhartha and mother is Trishali. They belong to the Baji kingdom, Ishkavanku dynasty, which is one of the 16 Mahajanapadas, one of the dynasty of 16 Mahajanapadas. So he belonged to the Kshatriya kingdom. Vardhamana, Lord Mahavira belonged to the Kshatriya kingdom. Vardhamana means one who grows. Meaning of Vardhamana is one who grows. He left the worldly life at the age of 30, and he got the he got the knowledge, or he got, it's known as Kaivalya or omniscience. He got the spiritual enrichment at the age of 42 after 12 years of meditation. Life he got his samadhi at the age of 72, 468 BC at Pavapuri, Rajgir, Bihar. Okay, so Mahavira was born in Oh, sorry. 540 BC. He left his worldly life at age of 30. Kaivalya omniscience at age of 42. He got his samadhi at age 72. 468 BC at Pavapuri, Rajgir, Bihar. Rajgir. You have already studied Magadha capital is Rajagraha. This is Rajgir, sorry. Okay, so Mahavira also propagated three ideas: right action, right knowledge, and right faith. These are the ideas, our three ratnas of Mahavira. And Jainism religion propagates hard penance and hard asceticism, extreme life, asceticism. Okay. You will be asking, he opposed the caste system. Jainist oppose Mahavira, and Jainism religion opposes a caste system. They consider God, but which is below their God, Lord Mahavira. They consider God, but it is below Lord Mahavira. You should take note down of this point because these type of questions are asked in UPSC. There are two sects of Jainism, Digambara and Svetambara. Digambara is propagated by Bhadrabahu, which is the oldest and original form of Jainism. In the Digambara Jainism, these people will not wear any clothes, and it is original Jainism. Uh, they will strive. They will strive for their liberation through the principles said by the Lord Mahavira and other Tirthankaras. In Svetambar, it is propagated by Stolabhadra. It is somewhat liberal. Even women can join in the Svetambara, but not in Digambara. Okay, they can wear clothes. They can eat from other houses also, but they Digambar can eat only in. Sorry, I am not. Digambar can eat only in Jainist saint houses, whereas Swetambar can eat in Jainist houses. Like that, something there is one difference also. I'm not sure of it. I will comment it in our comment box. Okay. So there are two types of conferences in Jainism. One was conducted in 300 BC in Pataliputra capital Bihar, which is headed by Stulabhadra. Okay. In that, a compilation of 2 Lankas was completed. Similarly, in 512 AD, after 800 years, around 800 years, in Vallavi, Gujarat, there were the Shamas Raman, their final completion of 2 Lankas and 2 Upangas. Compilation here started, they completed in 512 AD. So, Jainist teachers were represented, each Tirthankaras were represented by each animal. First Tirthankara, Rishabhanatha, Adinatha. Rishabhanatha and Adinatha were represented by bull. Second, Ajinatha by elephant. You don't have to study everyone. Next, you can see Parshavanatha by serpent and Mahavira. Last Tirthankara by lion. After Mahavira, this Jainist tradition didn't continue. Okay. So next topic is Buddhism. One of the influential teacher in our Indian subcontinent is Lord Buddha, and it propagated to many areas: Central Asia, uh, East Asia, right? South of Asia, South Asia. It propagated to many areas of the Indian subcontinent, many areas. One of the differences in Jainism and Buddhism is Buddhism spreaded very fastly, but the sad thing is, as fast as it is spreaded, the population in India also came down fastly, as fast as it spreaded. But Jainism does not spread like Buddhism, but the community who practiced Jainism were still intact, and the same population were continuing till now. That's the difference between the Buddhism and Jainism. So we can see spread across subcontinent through Central Asia, China, Korea, and Japan, through Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, and Indonesia. Sri Lanka's was his original name. He belonged to Sakya clan, which belongs to the one of the 16 Mahajanapada. Upbringing was throughout was in place. Upbringing throughout was in palace. So one of the saints said that if you lose his son, if you your son has an special writing in his birth itself that either he will become a great king or he will become a great monk. Ultimately, father doesn't want his son to be a monk, so what he did was he made his son grow in palace itself. He didn't want his son to see the ultimate reality what was happening in outside. So he was born and brought up fully in palace itself. So he got married and he got a daughter too. After 30 years of age, after 30 years of age, he was frustrated and one day he asked his charioteer to go to town and take him to town. He asked his charioteer to take him to town. During the way, he saw some incidents. He saw three main incidents. It was he saw a old man. He saw a old man. You can see here. He saw a old man, a sick man, and a corpse. Corpse means dead body. He saw three incidents. From those three incidents, he came to a conclusion that destruction of human body is inevitable. On the way, so he was utterly confused and he wanted peace. So on the way, he saw a seed and he decided to live a life like his seed. So he left the palace and followed the same method. He left the palace and followed the same method. Uh, he didn't get peace. He explored several methods, extreme methods, harsh methods, body mortification. He didn't eat anything and he became so slim. Okay. Um, Still, he didn't get peace. Abandoning extreme methods, he just simply meditated for several days and got enlightenment and thus called Buddha. Siddhartha was transformed to Buddha, Lord Buddha. Finally, he became Buddha. His teaching is transient and constantly changing world. World is constantly changing. It is called as Anika. It does not have any soul and there is nothing permanent. It is called as Anatta. And is the thing called as sorrow is intrinsic to the human life. It can't be changed. It's intrinsic to the human existence. It is known as dukkha. So the path of unlike Lord Mahavira and Jainism, he said that don't follow the extreme methods and don't follow even simple methods. There is nothing like simple method. He said to leave a path of moderation between hard and simple. Moderation, severe penance, and self-intelligence. Human beings can rise from these worldly troubles. The earliest form of Buddhism, whether or not God existed, was irrelevant. Because during the time of Lord Buddha, the existence of God was discussed, but he didn't answer for it. So it was irrelevant whether they discussed it or there was no text or official text about the God in Buddhist texts. Okay. Though Buddha and other teachers didn't write any books, his senior monks composed and compiled his teachings during the 4th to 5th century BC at Vaishali. They are known as Tripataka. There are three types of Tripataka: Vinaya Pitaka. Vinaya Pitaka means rules and regulations of the monks who joins in the Buddhist Sangha or monastic order. Sutta Pitaka means Buddha's teachings. What did Buddha said in his personal words? Okay, and Abhidhamma Pitaka means philosophical matters. Philosophical matters means true to the nature environment. As Buddhism spread, it went to Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, there were two books known as Dipavamsa and Mahavamsa. Dipavamsa is literally the chronicles of Ireland, and Mahavamsa the Great Chronicles. And these two books are also related, and they have the story of related to Buddha. Most of the books are written in Pali, and some books are also written in Sanskrit because some kings are also interested in Buddhism. From the China, Faxian and Su Zheng were interested with the Buddhist religion, and they came to India to study the Buddhist religion. So Buddhist texts were in language of Pali, Sanskrit, Chinese, and Tibetan languages. Uh, Lord Buddha was born in Lumbini. He was enlightened in Bodh Gaya under a peepal tree. His first sermon was in Sarnath, and finally he got his salvation or Mahaparva Parinirvana in Kushinagar. You can see Buddha was born in 600 BC. He left at 29 years of age itself. He left the palace. At 35 years itself, he got enlightenment. Whereas Mahavira Jaina at 42, he left the palace at 30, and he died at 300 BC. No, wrong. He didn't live for 300 years. He died at some. He died at the age of 82. 82, I think so. Please see the data and verify it. Okay, 82. So there are four noble truths in Buddhism propagated by Buddha. They are dukkha, the truth of suffering. Suffering is, we have seen a sentence now here. Sorrow is intrinsic to the human suffering existence. Where if there is a human existence, there is a sorrow. Okay. And samudaya, the truth of origin of suffering. You have to know where the suffering came from. And nirodha, truth to the end of suffering. Marga, a truth to the path, truth of the path to the end of suffering. This is truth to the end of suffering. Solution, and this is implication. Similarly, 8 noble paths: dhyana, meditation, concentration, dharana, pratyahara, pranayama, asana, niyamas, yamas, samadhi means integration, moral observance, self-discipline, postures, breath regulation, sensory withdrawal, concentration, and meditation. So there were 4 Buddhist councils totally. First Buddhist council was in time period of 483 BC to 486 BC. Patron was Ajatashatru, king of Haryanka dynasty. Haryanka dynasty. Venue was in Rajagriha, and chairman was Mahakashyapa. What result was Vinaya Pitaka. Vinaya Pitaka means rules and regulations of monasteries. Second was in 383 BC. Patron was Kalashoka, dynasty Shishunaga, venue Vaishali, chairman Sabakami, split Buddha and order. The new types of Buddhism known as Theravada Buddhism came. Theravada Buddhism means it is apart from the Buddhist policy. Actually, the Buddha didn't say that worship me as a god, but this Theravada Buddhists consider Buddha as a god. This is known as Theravada Buddhism, and the split in the Buddhism occurred during the second century BC itself, during the patron of Kalashoka. 250 BC, Ashoka, Mauryan Empire, Pataliputra, and the chairman was Mogaliputra. It is the codification of Abhidhamma Pitaka, Buddhist philosophy in Pali. And last one is 72 by AD, Kanishka, Shakas. Kanishka Emperor was a Hindu, but he gave a lot of importance to other religions. Kushan dynasty, Kashmir. Last council was held in Kashmir, and chairman was Vasumitra, deputed by Ashwagosha. Division of Buddhism into Mahayana and Hinayana sect. Okay. So what is meant by Theravada, Mahayana, and Tibetan? Theravada is the oldest one, way of elders, oldest tradition, best way to attain nirvana, to be monk, nun, meditate. First one, find one path to enlightenment, very much as an individual religion. Teaches people can help each other find enlightenment, not necessary to be one. So it is liberal. Bodhisattvas enlightened people not yet passed to nirvana help others. Shares many Mahayana teachings. You can see the Tibetan. We have seen many videos, in many movies about the Tibetan types of Buddhism, where a golden type Buddha will be sitting and meditating. Golden type Buddha will be sitting and meditating. In front of that Buddha, there will be many candles, and people will be sitting and praying in front of the Tibetan Buddhism. It is a type of Mahayana Buddhism. So teachings. Buddha regarded creation of human as a social work rather than divine. Buddha regarded that peoples were created by the social order of the world, not by the divine. Advised kings and Gahabatis to be ethical. Advised people to treat other peoples and lower peoples in good way, in ethical way. Similarly, Gahapatis means husbands. Uh, advised husbands to be husbands to treat their family in a good way. Self-realization and nibbana. The path of the path of liberation is from self-realization and nibbana. One of the famous quotes of Buddha is, "Be lamb to yourselves, as all of you must work out for your own liberation." Followers of Buddha is called as sangha, organization of monks who soon became teachers of Dhamma. Believe simply with the minimum requisites. They were called as bhikkhus. Initially, women were not allowed in the Buddhism, but Ananda, a senior monk who is dear to the Lord Buddha, requested that women should be joined in the organization, and Lord Buddha accepted, and women became monks. The first woman who became the monk was Lord Buddha's mother, and she became a bhikkhuni. Followers includes kings to peasants and other castes also, like untouchables. Everyone became the followers of Buddhism because they didn't say about the caste hierarchy. Everyone is open in the Buddhist religion. In Sutta Pitaka, there is a text. Sutta Pitaka means sayings of Buddha. In Sutta Pitaka, there is a text. There is a section called as Tirigata, which is written by bhikkhus, ladies. Okay, these are the important sites of Buddhism. You can see Nalanda, Lumbini, Kapil. These areas are main areas of Buddhism, and it's spread to Mahashangat, Lalitgiri, Ratnagiri, Udayagiri, Amravati. Amravati is a famous site. Even King Ashoka has a edict here. Karla Caves, Lora Caves, Ajanta Caves, Sanchi, Takshashila, near Afghanistan. I said no, one of the provincial capital of Mauryan Empire. Bamiyan. Here there was one big Buddhist statue which was destroyed by Taliban, and now they are reconstructing it. Okay. So next, stupas. Stupas means it is also called as chaityas. Chaityas means funeral mode. Actually, these stupas existed even before the Buddhist period, even before the birth of Lord Buddha. These stupas existed. So stupas or chaityas means a funeral mound with some extensions. These were called as stupas. They contained the relics that were regarded as sacred. According to the Buddhist text, Ashoka Vatan, Ashoka supplied many relics of Buddha or other senior monks to other main peoples, to his officers, and told other main officers to construct stupas in every part of the India. Okay. Architecture inscriptions on railings and pillars record donations by many, including kings, Satvahanas, and merchants. Women also donated. Amravati and Sanchi. Amravati site. There are two important stupas in our history. We know that Amravati and Sanchi. Amravati site was destroyed, and we didn't get any relics. Even some relics which we got was transported to the European country and our other important museums like Chennai, Kolkata. Uh, at that time, this preservation was done by British people. British people thought of ex site protection, ex situ protection, rather than in situ protection. In situ protection needs lot of security and lot of investment. They thought of ex situ protection, and I will say it is their own tactics to steal our materials. Okay, and next site is Sanchi. Sanji site is in Sanji site was in at the time it was in good condition. So in situ preservation was done there. You can see the Torana. In Torana there were many pictures which were the stories of Jatakas. The stories were propagated to peoples. Even it contains some railings contains the details of donors that we have already seen. Some of the greatest Buddhist during the Lord Buddha's life, some important incidents have happened, and these important incidents are marked as a symbol. Buddha's birth was marked as a lotus flower. His great departure was as is marked as a horse symbol. His enlightenment is as people tree. His first sermon as a wheel, and his death or Mahaparinirvana as this symbol. Okay. Other popular traditions. In important stupas, we found images like this. At first, people were confused, but as per the Sanskrit traditions, it is known as Banjika. Shala Banjika means angel. If she touches any plant or any seed, it will get bloomed. It will get bloom, flowers will bloom, plants will plants will germinate. Like that, she's called a lucky angel. So, importing from the Sanskrit text, these materials were also used in the these ideas were used in the Buddhist stupas. Okay. Similarly, in the Hinduism, at the same time, by the after death, I mean on the first starting of the centuries, like Gupta Empire, new form of Hinduism formed, Vaishnavism, Shaivism. Vaishnavism means believers of Lord Vishnu. Shaivism means believer of Lord Shiva, and through the folk stories of other areas, they through the communications and through their discussions, uh, Lord Vishnu, and by incorporating other ideas, Lord Vishnu was made into 10 avatars. Lord Shiva was represented by Linga. As I said, by incorporating other ideas, uh, Vishnu got 10 avatars. Like that, one of the avatars, Vasudeva Krishna, he was worshipped in Mathura, and at the same time, Vaishnavism was developing, and Krishna's and Vishnu's character was incorporated, and they made one of the avatars as Vasudeva Krishna avatar. At the same time, temples for deities began to construct. Main sanctorum was called as Garbhagriha, and the main sanctorum. Okay, wait. This is called as Garbhagriha. This is called as Shikara. This is called as Kalasha, and this word material is called as Amalaka. This word is called as waiting room or Mandapa, Ardha Mandapa, sub waiting room. During the Gupta's period only, this temple architecture started. Temple architecture is classified into three types: Nagara, Dravida, and Vaisara. Nagara style means it's of North Indian style. Temples in the North India. Even Nagara style is classified into three types. Odisha style, one is from Rajasthan, one is from Madhya Pradesh. Like that, it is also classified into three types. We will study in another video. Dravida style, South Indian style temples, and last is Vaishara. Vaishara is combination of both the North Indian and South Indian temples. It incorporates ideas of both the temples. Okay, so when we see the timeline 1500 to 1000 BC, early Vedic traditions, then 1500 later Vedic, then Upanishads, Jainism, Buddhism, first stupas in 3rd century, 2nd century, development of Mahayana Buddhism, Vaishnavism, Shaivism, 2nd century BC onwards, Shaivism and Buddhist cults, 3rd century earliest temples during the Gupta Empire. This comes under culture. I will cover in another class. Okay, so thank you. Please give your suggestions in comment box. Subscribe. Based on suggestions only, I can come to a conclusion whether I have to continue these videos or not. Thank you.